In fact, I would say, like Dr. Campbell mentioned, job day. Because of my poverty, this is not corruption. I joined student politics because of item 13. You see, like today, if they are budgeted for 500 and you are 200, the rest of the food they won't share for you. You see, it will go to the SRC office. You see, you and the right start is actually now, and I'm very happy. Those of you seated here, this is part of the right start. But sometimes you are placed in a situation just to actually uplift you. Because in most of these UK universities, if you are talking about first class, you will see where it is. I did computer science in KNUST for 2 years without a computer. Because I've gone through what people call child labor. In fact, there are certain basic education I did not have. I did not go to what we call P2. I did not go to P3. I went to P4 for 1 term. I did not go to P5. And I went to JSS1 in 2nd semester. And this is what happened.
The profile itself is educative. Yeah, so without much time wasting, I would like to introduce the next speaker. He is a cybersecurity, a digital forensics, and a digital innovation professional with 9 years experience researching, teaching, consulting, and implementing projects within the information technology landscape. Currently, he is a system analyst at the African Union, responsible for development, deployment, management, and maintenance of information security and database systems. He is also a visiting cybersecurity research fellow at the Human Security Research Center, Ghana, and a cybersecurity adjunct lecturer at the Academic City University College, Ghana. He worked as a lecturer at Amstead. Yes, and he once taught me networking and security to score an A. Yeah, look, I scored an A. I scored A in networking. Yes. An adjunct lecturer at KNUST and GIMPA, teaching information technology related courses. He worked as a cybersecurity research consultant for the African Union at the African Center for the Study of Research on Terrorism. Please, I've not finished. Yes. He is an ambitious technologist and entrepreneur. He is the founder and the principal cybersecurity consultant for the African Digital Innovation Center Limited. He is also a co-founder and managing partner at CERIT Research and Consultancy Limited. As a social entrepreneur, he co-founded Youth Without Borders Ghana as a Pan-African youth-based advocacy group and currently serving as board member. He has trained, presented, researched, and consulted for several organizations, both home and abroad, including AU, NATO, and many more. Yes, NATO, you heard me. His consultancy work has seen him travel to many countries across the globe, notably USA, UK, Germany, France, Italy, Switzerland, Spain, Belgium, Turkey, UAE, Ethiopia, Algeria, Egypt, Tanzania, Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Gabon, and many more. I don't want to continue, but I should continue right now. Yes. He has over 10 years continuous experience in youth development, advocacy, leadership and empowerment, and has successfully trained and mentored over 5,000 youth in leadership and entrepreneurship. Wow. He is a 2018 World Youth Forum speaker, 2022 Fellow of the International Visitors Leaders Program, and 2016 alumnus of the Young African Leaders Initiative, both U.S. Department and of state-sponsored leadership programs. 2019 Chevening Scholar, awarded by the UK Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office. He is also an alumnus of the African Union Youth Volunteers Corps, an African Union Emerging Leader Program. In 2017, he was awarded STEM Scholarship for PhD by the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation. He has served as a speaker and panelist for many international youth conferences and seminars across the globe. At this juncture, let's welcome. One thing I learned from this speaker when he was my lecturer was that he don't like titles. No, he don't like titles. So without wasting much time, let's welcome Mr. Richard Apau.
Okay, thank you very much, PRO, and thank you very much, SRC Executive, and thank you very much, Amstead. I think that I have returned home. Just for about some 5 months ago, I was here in this university trying to also uplift the vision of providing skills and entrepreneurial training to our citizens. So I'm very happy to be back. In fact, I had a very busy schedule, and SRC General Secretary contacted me. So we had to do some back and forth a lot of times about the dates, but thankfully I'm here. So I'm also grateful to the SRC for this opportunity to speak to my brothers and sisters. I would say that as I was seated here, Dr. Campion has basically enumerated a lot of the stuff that I wanted to talk about. And I was very much impressed because most of the points I wanted to lament, he has already given them. But what I liked about his presentation was the fact that he tried to use his personal experiences in trying to encourage you. For me, I have always maintained, especially for those of us that come from certain backgrounds, that through the benevolence and the favors of God, we have reached where we are. I don't know how many of us come from the Eastern region. Okay, yes. Your secretary, I'm in the same village from your secretary. Yes. So it's called Asanase. It's after Asamankese in the West Akem municipality. So I think PR has said a lot of things. So I really want to go through that again. I would also try as much as possible to use my personal experiences and also share with you. In fact, I would say, like Dr. Campion mentioned, job day, but boys no day. Jobs day, but boys no day. Yes, we keep complaining about how packed the employment situation is. But I would also tell you that on a daily basis, there are jobs that are also available, and there are no people to fill those job gaps. And like he rightly mentioned, if you would want to succeed in the employability, whether through entrepreneurship, through your own business, or being wanting to be employed, it will actually depend on you. And the right start is actually now. And I'm very happy. Those of you seated here, this is part of the right start. I attended the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in 2009. And whilst I was on campus, what I took seriously was programs such as this. I took also seriously student politics. And I also took seriously what Dr. Campion called volunteerism. In fact, I would say that I am currently at the African Union because of volunteerism. Because somewhere in 2015, I was selected as part of some 5 young people to have interaction with various presidents on the continent to come up with policies that will aim to provide better opportunities for young people. So we met in Addis Ababa. And whilst we were in Addis Ababa, the 5 of us that met in Addis Ababa realized that we needed a platform to actually encourage young people, to educate young people, to also help young people to take very good decisions for themselves. So when we came back, we decided that we would form a youth organization. And we called that youth organization Youth Without Borders. And we did a lot of mentorship and leadership trainings in senior high schools. Even in this university, we had a program with the GRASAC in KNUST. So through that, a lot of people have even had the opportunity to work for the African Union. And indeed, I happened to work for the African Union through that organization, because our activities were such that it was national. So when the AU was looking for youth organization to work with in Ghana, we were there. So when it happened that the African Union started youth volunteer program, they needed some people also in Ghana, and they contacted us that they needed 2 people from Ghana to be part of the African Union volunteers. And the AU volunteer program is like that. You are posted in another country and you go and work for 1 year. So the African Union pays you some stipend. So I was posted to Algeria to serve for 1 year. And like he also mentioned, that's why I keep saying that most of the stuff I wanted to talk about, he's already mentioned them. When I went to the AU, the organization I was posted to is a research center. I would want to say there are so many staff, but it appears that there was nobody at the center. What it means is that there were quite a number of people in the organization, but the organization was still lacking in its mandate, what is expected to do. So one would say that there were many chiefs, but few Indians. So I took advantage and trying to do some innovative stuff, started some products, and it worked. It put the organization a certain pedestal, and almost everybody was interested in what we were doing at the center, to the point that when I was about ending my 1 year, nobody actually wanted me to leave. So they offered that they were going to give me a consultancy, so I will stay. But you see, I am such that anytime I'm at a place, I'm always looking for an alternative. So whilst I was doing the youth volunteer program, I had been a local champion. And by being a local champion was that when I finished my first degree at K University, I did my national service on the university campus. And I felt that the money I was taking during my national service, if I was to go to the industrial people to do that. Yes, so I decided to do my master's immediately after my national service. So that presupposes that I had 2 master's degrees from Ghana. But I always wanted to be a cybersecurity expert because I knew how big the atmosphere in Ghana was. And it was a space that was gaining global recognition, but the skills were limited in Ghana. So I searched through the US, the UK, Germany, and I felt that UK was a very good space for me. So even whilst I was with the AU, I applied for the UK government scholarship. So for those of you that have not heard about it, it's called Chevening Scholarship. Chevening. And Chevening actually selects potential leaders. You see, both this US and UK, they are interested in people whom they can foresee that in the next 10 or 20 years, they will be leaders of their country. So that at least for their own foreign policy. So I won the scholarship, full funded scholarship to read cybersecurity in one of UK's best universities, which was University of Warwick in Coventry. I was supposed to end my volunteer program with the AU in September 2019. And in September 2019 was where I was supposed to start my master's. So like you mentioned, I had a competitive edge. So I told them that you can give me a consultancy for some 2 years, and what happened to my school? So I would only stay and not take the scholarship if they can offer me a full-time employment. So because of me, there were some vacancy positions. And quickly, they put those vacancy positions up. And the African Union is such that advertisement and recruitment takes a long time. Sometimes about 2 years, 1 year going through the process. They put the vacancy out, I applied. When the scholarship was due for me to be taken, they had not done the shortlisting and even the interview. So I told them that, look, I'm going. So I left. But after 1 month that I left, certain product that we started at the center, they could not continue. So whilst I was in the UK, they gave me a consultancy to work from the UK. So 1 year, I was moving between UK and Algiers. Even though my course was a full-time course, I would sneak out of the UK for some time, 1 week, 2 weeks, go, and then I'll come back. Then after 1 year, I finished my program, and then I decided immediately to come to Ghana. So in fact, among the Ghanaians that got a scholarship, I was the first person to come to Ghana after my master's in the UK. That was because I wanted to come and do something on cybersecurity in Ghana. And I knew how the atmosphere was, and I knew what I was looking for. And within 6 months, I have gathered enough momentum. I was being chased all over the place, both by media houses, law firms, Ghana Police Service, the Ministry of National Security. And so we have done a lot of work. And I decided that I wanted to teach. That was to lecture, because I had previously taught before leaving for my volunteer program. So I applied. I applied to about 6 universities, and Amstead was one of them. And I had applied to their immediate competitor, which is UEW, where Amstead was being born. So, so I attended the interview. I attended the interview at KNOST, UEW, GEMPA, and I think Sunyane, you know. There was one person that was running through my interview. And at each stage of this process, the university recruitment is very laborious. You have to go through about 3 stages of interview. So at the faculty interview at Univa, one question the dean asked me, "Young man, are you sure when we employ you will stay?" But of course, I was looking for a job. So why won't I stay? But I think that she has realized that my CV was not meant for the place. I was too dynamic to be at that place. I said I was going to stay. So quickly, within 2 weeks, we went through the final interview and I got the appointment. The next week, you never called me for the final interview. I got the appointment. And then Amstead also called. GEMPA had finished their interview. I got the appointment, and Amstead also called. But there was a little delay in Amstead. But I had wanted to come here because I felt that in somewhere 2017, when I had no experience, Amstead was the first place that took me to have teaching experience. So I felt that I owed them that favor. So at that time, Dr. Anson was the HOD. He convinced me and said that, "Richard, you have to come here." I said, "Doc, I have 3 appointments. And me too, I need money." But Amstead was having a little challenge because they were just now being granted the autonomous. So one time I was sleeping and I think it doesn't happen. The HOD for Winneba was calling me because I'm sure at that time they might have heard that I have had multiple employment offers. And indeed, I had gone to Winneba. I didn't like the environment. The place was too expensive for me because I had even gone to look for accommodation and it was expensive for a single young man trying to make life. I mean, so Kumasi was a place that it was okay. Sunyane, I just had to find a reason not to go for certain places. So now, after 1 week, the EUW people kept giving me pressure to come for my appointment letter and return the acceptance of my appointment letter. And I was still waiting for Amstead. So I went to Winneba indeed to submit my acceptance. And I was supposed to give the acceptance to the registrar. When I went there, the registrar had gone on break, lunch break. And I said, okay, let me go and give it to Provost and Pro VC because they are supposed to be giving copy. When I was descending the stairs, I got a call from one gentleman called Richard. And he said he's calling from Amstead. I'm supposed to attend a final interview. So I packed all my letter and went back to Telma. I went home and said, "Man, I did not submit the acceptance." He said, "Why?" I said, "The Kumasi people called me." He said, "But they have not given you the job." I said, "No, I'll attend their interview." So I attended the interview here and I was given the offer. So I decided that I'll come. So I just had to call Winneba and give them the reason why I was not coming. I made a post on this on Facebook. And you know what? In 2018, I had attended interview in Winneba when this university was under them to be employed as a lecturer. I was then a PhD candidate. And the Vice Chancellor, the time he was the Pro-Vice Chancellor, the immediate past one, asked me to introduce myself. When I did introduce myself, I mentioned I'm a PhD candidate here. And he said that, oh, this university do not employ PhD students. And so you should either be a master's holder or you have a PhD. They don't employ PhD students. And in 2020, the rules have changed. I had not completed my PhD, but in that advertisement, they wanted PhD students, so I applied. So when they gave me the offer, I also, it's not reciprocity. You see, because now I have the skills. You get it. I have the competence. And of course, I knew what I'm supposed to teach. And you can tell them when I'm in the teaching process, I know my stuff. Because I have the skills. You see it. So it's very important that you take your time to actually develop the skills. Whilst I was seated here, a lot of your questions were about how theoretical the topic we are doing here is. The other time I was in this auditorium, there was an open forum and students were talking about theoretical nature of the courses. You can ask everybody, maybe Dr. Campion can tell you. It's UK and US universities that we attend. Sometimes it's branded. We're all here. And I remember telling them, I told my professor, who is from India, that, I don't see any difference in what you are teaching here and what our people are teaching. The truth of the matter is that some of our lecturers even teach far better than what we've been taught there. But the difference has to do with infrastructure, as you mentioned. Is that okay? That's the only difference. And that's the limitation we know that it is in our country. But you see, I attended Asamankesi Senior High School. And I came to KMSD to read computer science. And we had people that have attended Presec, Legon, Wegehe, and all those. The first semester, when you're in the class with them, every question their hands are up. And you see, those of us from the less endowed schools, then we will be looking at them. But at the end of the first semester, the men were separated from the boys. You see? So you realize that sometimes you are placed in a situation just to actually uplift you. Because in most of these UK universities, if you are talking about first class, you will see where it is coming from, Nigerians, Ghanaians. But look at the education we are having. This education we are having is the same education we all had though. The same lecture room. Okay, anyways, we were all carrying chairs. The situation is not that better than what is here. There too, it is branded. You see, somebody will tell you that University of Ghana is a Lagos. The problem you are going through here, it is Ghana problem. And you'll be surprised that it is not Ghana problem. Nigeria, it is worse. You can ask anybody that is in the university in Nigeria. It is completely worse. You see, but I believe that we know this university, I believe, if they have the resources, would want to make things better for all of us. But we must also acknowledge that there are limitations as to what the university can do. Because there are limitations, you school fee the university can charge you. And because of that, we are all going through these challenges. But this afternoon, the gospel is that you would have to start right. And if you have to start right, you have to pull yourself from the crowd. There are so many things you have to do to give yourself the needed skills. The classroom will give you the theoretical foundation, but the onus actually lies on you to develop your skills for the kind of career you want for yourself. That one, nobody in the classroom will teach you. In fact, there are so many things I do, there are so many things I know that was never taught in the classroom. This is a university. Normally we say it is the four walls of the university. This university gives you the opportunity, the exposure to meet people, connect with people. There are so many opportunities that you can find in this university. It can build your leadership skills. There are so many of my friends who cannot stand here and talk to people like you. I also know there are people like who cannot even stand here like what the PRO is doing. But I see at the end of the day, he has competitive edge over a lot of you. Me, my principle has always been that when I apply for the job, unless you don't call me for interview, if you don't call me for interview, you are safe. Because if you call me for that interview, you will find it tough in making a decision not to take me. You see, because like you mentioned, it's sometimes not about just bragging, you see, but it's about knowing what you are talking about and leading the people on the kind of question they should ask you. Everywhere, I will push you to a place, you ask me a question, I'll beat you there. You see, and that is because I have confidence of what I'm talking about. I have confidence of what, if I want to teach, I have confidence of what I'm talking about. And I can tell you from where I have come from. You see, there was this story a lot of time I don't tell people, but occasionally I mention it. In fact, if we are looking at people that are poor, I mean, you know, poverty, the typical one, I think I'm part of them. Because I've gone through what people call child labor. In fact, there are certain basic education I did not have. I did not go to what we call P2. I did not go to P3. I went to P4 for one term. I did not go to P5. And I went to JSS1 in second semester. And this is what happened. You see, because my mother and my father, they were all poor. They were the normal, what we call the, I mean, in agriculture, we call that type of farming that they do to feed the family. Subsistence farming, yes. And unfortunately for us, my dad also died when I was 6 years. But glory be to God, a lot of time I say that I was happy that he was the one that died. Because I'm sure if it was my mother, I would not be here. With all apologies to all fathers here, not to say that fathers are not important. But you see, no, that death, I think that death was a savior. Because you see, for those of us in the account, even when somebody wants to help you, they will say, oh, but his father is dead. You see, when my father died, I was going to school and it was left with my mother alone and we were 5. So I had to stop school. Because you go to school as old as 6 years, 8 years. You are told that when it is time for break, you have to come home and eat. I mean, and sometimes, I don't think it's intentional. My mother sometimes forgets. By the time I get to the house, he's gone to farm. And there was no food there. Well, I have to carry my, that's two we use in the kitchen. Yes, those times, you see, government schools, there are not enough desks and tables for you. So we're carrying our own desks. People were carrying proper chair, that one with the table and the chair at the back. Mine was the stool. That stool can be used in the kitchen. So I did that, and it was horrible. So about, I think after 8 years, I stopped school. For which time I have done, I think, P2. So I stopped. I stayed home for about 2 or 3 years. And people started complaining. Why is he not going to school? Why is he not going to school? And I was doing virtually almost everything. I was reading in people's farm. I've suffered though. I've really suffered. I was reading. Those times we call it 12 by 12. You know what 12 by 12 is? Yes. You see the cutlass that we used to read. You measure 3 of the cutlass on a stick. So you can't 12 here, you can't 12 here, you can't 12 here. So I was reading using hoe. I have suffered though. I have suffered though. So I was doing that. And Fortunately, in the town, I had an auntie who opened com center. In 2000 thereabout, there was no mobile phone. So communication center was very active. So I was a messenger in that com center. When people call, you go and call the people that their family members have called them. So I was doing that business, and then a headmistress in our time used to come to the place, and he could realize that when people call and they were speaking English, I was speaking very good English. I have a very horrible handwriting. Those of you, when I was teaching, you could see how the marker was being written. Yes, it's from there. Because even my first copy book, I did not do some. You see, So she felt that, no, I could go to school. And at that time, I have skipped so many of the schools. But she decided that when I decided to come, they would take me in JSS 1. Because I've missed, I think the first time I used pen to write in school was P5, which I did only one term and I stopped. And then I was doing my own business. I was selling contumely. I was taking it to St. Dominguez Hospital. There was a market there and people were buying it. So when the headmistress decided that he would admit me in JSS, I went there in JSS second term. That was 2002. I went to JSS second term. So when I went, they had finished first term of JSS 1. So I had some friends helping, I copied all the notes. In fact, I keep telling people that you cannot be poor and your head too will be weak. I don't know. God doesn't work like that. A lot of time, people whose head are weak, their family background is very good. So I think God is always good in his ways. So by second term, I had taught all the subjects in JSS 1 except Ghanaian language, 3. And they were shocked. People even thought, like Dr. Campion was saying, people even thought it was juju. And by third term of JSS 1, I taught all subjects. And in fact, I led the school and it reflected in BEC. But you see, when we are doing BEC, you will have to select secondary school that you attend. People go to their parents, those who want to go to Abusco. In the area, Abusco is very popular. Abusco, those who want to go to St. Roses, those who want to go to Pojos. In my case, the headmistress did not even ask me to go and ask my parents. She decided to fulfill the Ghana Education Service requirement by selecting schools for me. And I think the best schools to select for me was Asamakese Senior High School. And she knew that there was no way I was going to have money to continue senior high school. And myself, I also knew that because I could not imagine who was going to take me to senior high school. So the BEC came, and I had taught my school and had taught the whole time. I had a grade 9 at that time, and that had not happened in the town before. So this is what I call the benevolence of family members. So one of my aunties, majority of people to date still think that she's my mother. I have never told anybody she's not. She has never behaved like she's not. Almost all my friends know her as my mother. But that is an auntie. She decided that she wanted to take me to Tema. So I went to work after BEC. I was, I think, 15 years. So I was doing pure water, what we call the sachet water. Yes, I was bagging. And I was loading them into Kia. People were going to sell it and all those kind of. I did that for 1 year. And she told me to save the money because she was giving me money. And when the posting came, I got as a Manchester Senior High School to go and read science. Fortunately, because I had taught the town, the MP of the area at the time gave scholarship. And I was given scholarship for my first year. And Ghana government also gave scholarship for best students in each class. And so in science class, I was the best student and I was given the scholarship. That is how I was able to attend senior high school. I finished senior high school and I needed to go to university. That one was another help. First year in KNUST was trouble. I had not come to Kumasi before. My auntie took me to Circle and gave me to a Uton mate. Yes. With my trunk and my luggage, I came to Tech Junction. Fortunately, the SRC welfare teams were there, waiting to receive people whose parents cannot bring them to campus. And those times, you know how SRC and Student Association can extort money. When you go here, they say you have to pay this. When you go here, they say you have to pay this. By the first 2 weeks, the money I was giving home, because we didn't budget for all those, the money had finished. And I could not call home. So first week level, 100 students, all the money I came to school with was finished. This story I'm telling you, a lot of time when I sit at a certain place, I end up crying. But today I'm controlling my tears. Amen. So first year, I was doing sometime 001. Do you know what it means? Yes. That's what I was doing. In fact, I did computer science in KNUST for 2 years without a computer. You can imagine doing computer programming without a computer. So we had a lab, a computer lab, like the library. So there was lab. And every student of KNUST had 2 hours a day. So you go and log in your username and have 2 hours. So what I was doing was that I collected username and password of my friends that had computer. So when an assignment is given, I go and sit behind the machine. When I log in for 2 hours and it's expired, then I log in with my friend's account. That's how I was doing assignment and programming assignments. For 2 good years, I didn't have computer. I decided to take student loan in my 3rd year. And that's what I used to buy my first computer. That computer is what I used to do my master's. Even when I started teaching here, I was using that computer. So that's the extent of the poverty. And like I was telling you, sometime from lectures, I'll come and go to library. I'll go and be at the library when I don't have lecture. And then in the evening, I'll come and buy some kenke, eat. We used to have lectures early in the morning, go, and I was doing that. And there was a time I called home, and my auntie was like, he knows that, and I knew the condition at home, obviously. She was like, he knows that I don't have money. But he cannot call me because he knows the money is not there. And I said, yes, I know, and I know that the money is not there. That's why I need to have no called. So in fact, my entrepreneurship started from my poverty. I started selling books. There was, you see, in KNUST, every level, 100 students will do what we call com skills. So there was this Professor Norma, who had communication skills book. And it was 11 CDs at a time. So I went to pick those books, and I was taking it run and selling it 13 CDs. So sometimes I go for 100 books. You know, the rich people, you see, they are very lazy. So I'll take it to their rooms in Unity Hall, Africa, and a day, sometimes I could sell about 50 books. You multiply by 2 CDs, and I was getting quite a lot of money. And because of my poverty, this is not corruption, I joined student politics because of item 13. You see, like today, if they are budgeted for 500 and you are 200, the rest of the food they won't share for you. You see, it will go to the SRC office. You see. Was actually helping, and in tech there were some legitimate allowances. Sometimes meetings will come with allowances, sometimes you go on a trip, sometimes Ghana government didn't want to meet students, and all of these sometimes were coming with allowances. So this is how I survived on the university campus. Because I knew where I was coming from, I was determined to also change my situation. In fact, I am a first generation university graduate. Do you understand that? I am the first person in my family to have completed university. That's first generation university. In fact, my mother, we have 5 siblings. I was the only one that attended senior high school. I'm the only person. So, and I decided to move ahead. So at any point in time, I was determined to change my situation because I felt that life had to be better. And in fact, I can say to the glory of God that life is better. You can see that life is better, right? So for me, I think that we all have stories to tell. I would say that, so a lot of time when I'm in the class, I sympathize with people. Somebody will not come to class, you ask, oh, say I have to do this. Okay, I understand. So in my class, a lot of time I favor certain people, like married women, pregnant women, those with physical disability and all that, students with special needs, and then certain individuals with specific problems. Because I believe that in the classroom, we don't just teach. I observe the classroom environment. There are people who have paid their school fees in this university because they are so brilliant that they don't attend class. One of them was a mate, and so sometimes when we close from school, she's going to do that. These are people going through that. But I mean, for me, I know that these struggles at the end of the day will pay off. That is, if you are, there was no condition that is permanent. I can tell you, there was no condition. I remember I was in Algeria during the Christmas. And typically, you know, during Christmas, you know what we have to do, those of us that live outside. So I sent my sister, the one I follow, some money to do some family rituals. And for the first time, you see, my mother doesn't talk like I'm talking about my biological mother. She's a very quiet person. So she doesn't talk that much. And then for the first time, she was shocked that it is me that is doing all that I have to do. You see, the situation has changed. And this one, I will say that it is determination, it is perseverance, and third is the God factor. These 3 things, if you combine them, I believe that you can change every situation. So knowing that opportunities are limited, and knowing that the gap continues to close, like you say, the course you are reading, almost every university is doing some. So how do you come out from the cloud? How do you stand up and take your life and take advantage of it? He mentioned about going out. In fact, I have mentioned that if I'm in the capacity, I will take every young person out of this country. Like he mentioned, the exposure is sometimes very important. Because, you see, when I finished my master's in UK and I came, it's like I was walking in the sky. I don't know where that confidence came from. I'm being honest. Like, I don't know where it came from. I could realize that no, I was heavy. You see, even sometimes and you see when it happens like that, people sometimes, I don't know our perception. You see, sometimes people don't even want to challenge you because they know that, okay, you have this level. So it will be good. And for me, if you want to go outside, there are so many opportunities, especially for women. And these are things I keep talking about, especially women in sciences and even not even sciences. Now we have moved from talking about STEM to STEAM. STEAM is about what? Science, technology, engineering, arts. So arts here could be any of the social science artists. There are opportunities. You just have to be dynamic. Because there are many opportunities that are waiting, particularly women. A lot of organizations sometimes want to give scholarship to women, but they don't find them. And that is also because we lack the information. Like he mentioned, You have mobile phones. What do we use the mobile phones for? There are a bunch of information on the internet. There are a lot of. Me, when I was at this level, I was attending conferences. Some of them I was paying. So I'm very happy to see you here. Because there are information that you get at these conferences. Your colleague, your wife is sleeping, the wife is on, you are annoyed. Why is he annoyed? He's thinking about light bill. Can you imagine? You see? But if you have money, will you be thinking, how much is light bill in this country? So you see what poverty can cause. So please, you would have to be in a position where the air conditioning can be put on in the house. All of you are not here. Because you know that when we come, the room will be too hot. So you leave the air conditioning on and go out and come. You see? And for me, this life is possible. There is no condition that cannot be changed. So I would want to tell you, maybe some of you may want to ask questions. The opportunities exist. They do exist, but a lot of the opportunity depends on you. I've been confronting people a lot of times. You have to be dynamic. You see, in your approach, in your CV writing, in how you communicate to people, even sometimes how you count what you have done. Probably the SRC may have to take it up and organize some of these trainings like CV writing, interview skills. So we bring industry people to take people through that. Because a lot of time I have gone through CVs and it's not even at your level. There are people who are even at the industry level and they don't even know how to carve their CV. There's nothing like a CV should have to be 2-page. My CV is not 2-page. Maybe because you are now coming out, you can have that. Is that okay? But the most important thing is that you have to take charge of your individual lives and you would have to start right. You have to be determined and be persistent at that. And I can promise you that the situation will change. It is okay. Me, I have taught before. I have taught in Monica Senior High School. I went to teach. If you want to teach, there was a pathway to actually even leave teaching. Because of course, you see, probably you may want to do masters and you don't have the money. When you go and teach, these days there is distance learning. You can do your masters on distance learning. Or whilst you are teaching, to get money to cater for yourself and some family members, you are looking for scholarship elsewhere. Is that okay? So, anytime, make sure that one foot is always ahead. There are opportunities. Please, take advantage of these global opportunities. There are. I can promise you there are. Especially almost everybody. Whether women, all field. You see, US has a space for everybody. UK has a space for everybody. A lot of countries, a lot of universities out there have scholarships for almost everybody. Just be on the look. Use your phone to search for information. Attend leadership classes, attend trainings, attend some of these conferences to build your confidence, to build yourself. Is that okay? Because you never know. Sometimes that could be the stepping stone. I'd want to leave it here. If there was any question, I'll take them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Richard. When he made mention of his laptop, I remember once in his class,
The guy is a graphic designer. And the other colleagues, one of them actually did painting also. Is that okay? But now almost every weekend they have events they are taking. And they charge as high as sometimes 5,000 to 10,000 cedis. So imagine they have about 2 weddings to do within a month. Look at it. They are okay. You see, and there was nothing good for being your own boss. There was nothing good at that. They can decide to sleep for a whole week without going to work. But they have money. And leaving one contract, the money they will have, you won't have it in 2 months. You see, there was this gentleman that was Twinsberg. Twinsberg were actually those guys that were taking Samira Baumia's photograph. They were my mate from KNOST. They all read art, and they went into photography. You can check them out on Instagram. One was taking the president, and the one was taking Samira Baumia. But they have first degrees from KNOST. Look at the job they are doing. And you can't make money more than them, because everywhere the president was going, they were going. Everywhere Samira was going, they were also going. Is that okay? So for me, whatever you can do, those entrepreneurship can come from the course you are doing, or it can come from outside. Me, there was nothing wrong. When I was here teaching in 2017, there was a management student who was a tailor, and he used to sew for me, and I was paying him. He was a management student. He said he wanted to be a tailor. The dad wanted him to go to school. And I said, no, it is fine. Just go to the school. Because the dad was in the US. I said, go to the school and do your tailoring. Because the school, you are doing management, and it will help improve the work he was doing. So he was sewing and I was paying. Is that okay? So there are so many things that you can do to have money. Don't finish. I pray that all of you find what to do. It's my prayers. Because it is a precarious situation to live in these harsh economic conditions without income. It will be miserable, I'm telling you. But within that condition, please find something to do. The economy is hard, the country is difficult, we know. But I believe that it's just a storm and we will overcome it. The second person has to ask about the CV format. For me, at this level, your CV is just simple. Is that okay? We are looking at the introduction part of your CV, where it has your name boldly written. Stop that curriculum vitae thing that you write. So where you write a curriculum vitae big, you just have to have your name. Your name is boldly written there, maybe Richard Apau. When you pick my CV, that's what you see. And then my address. My address is basically my email, my telephone number, and where I'm staying. Then you have a section that talk about your educational background. So because you don't have a lot of stuff on your CV, at this level, your educational background, when you write the degree you are doing, make sure that you have some core courses that you did in the program. Is that okay? So for example, if you did network and security and you're applying for a job that has to do with networking, you can list core. Don't list all of them, because by 4 years you have a lot of courses. So select the most important courses and then put them there. And you can also attach your thesis topic. For those of you, you can attach your thesis topic, the one you worked on for your dissertation. You can just attach it. And then from there, you come to your employment history. At the employment history side, what you have to do is to ensure that if you have internships, put them there. Internships is very important. You just have to put them there. Is that okay? National service, you put them there. The internship, don't just put the intern. When you went to organization, you have a role. Every organization you go, you have a role. Maybe you are administrative assistant, you are this. Bring that and indicate that you were intern. That is okay. Is that okay? Then from there, if you have any leadership skills, even if you were a class rep, we want to see it. Especially those that want to apply to schools outside. These are the things that interest recruited outside. They want to see how responsible you are. And they want to see your involvement in extracurricular activities beyond the normal academic work. So you can be the class rep, you have to indicate. In the church, you can be a shepherd, you have to indicate. Is that okay? These are all leadership roles. At that moment, you have it. Every conference you have attended like this, you can put there, because it's capacity building. The people want to know how you make use of your time whilst you are on campus. Is that okay? So at that level, those are some of the things that you can leverage on. And then you list the skills, like Dr. Campion was saying. I speak English, French, and then basic Arabic. And so when I'm applying for any international organization, it is a comparative advantage for me. because at least they want people that can speak at least 2 basic languages. Your primary language, which is the English for me, and I should be able to communicate in French. If not, I cannot live in Algeria, because Algeria is a purely French-speaking country and then Arabic. And so I have to speak French, so I speak French. Is that okay? So if you are here and you are fortunate, and you are doing a course like English and French, you are gone. If you have opportunity to choose any courses and you can choose French, go for it. If your combination is English and French, you'll be amazed the kind of things you can do with them. Because you will have to prepare yourself for an international job. Make sure you are learning your French, whether the French is minor or major. Make sure, those doing Arabic and English, or Arabic and French, make sure you understand the language and you are indeed bilingual. And I believe that it can take you to so many places. The last question was asked by Omar, and he wanted to know, with all those factors in becoming successful. Omar, consistently in my presentation, I mentioned that it is a matter of determination, persistence, and the God factor. You see, at any point, God will have to be in it. But we keep also saying that heaven help those that help themselves. Is that okay? So put in the hard work, but let God always be part of the equation. And I believe that things will work out well for you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Richard. Without taking any further questions, I think we should move on. He said that the poor man should not have erection, which I think not here. Yes. Oh, I'm not going to mention names, but I know poor guys here. Yes. Yes, let's continue. I think we have some other dignitaries in our midst who just entered. They are late, but I still need to introduce them. Yes, we have in our midst Mr. Solomon, President for Association of Economic Students. Today he's our technician over there. And also we have the Financial Secretary, Bright Azameti, we call him Setekwe. Yes, he's here. And also we have the Queen. Yes, the Queen of the Student Fund. With the apologies to the ASU. We are maybe personal Queen. That is the Treasurer, Jemima Obo in our midst. Yes, he is not just welcome to this program, also welcome from Sierra Leone. I think he represented Amstead on the program. Yes, so we welcome him to her too. Sorry. Yes, let's move on. Let's move on. Because I think things are. Yes, so I have some quick announcements to make before